Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Inside Guns with your host, me, the Yankee Marshal. Today I want to talk about an argument that's been going on in the gun community for almost as long as there's been a gun community. And that argument is, which is more important, power or placement? Is it more important that your gun is powerful, or is it more important that you're able to hit the vital spot, that perfect placement on your target? Which one of these things is more important? Well, like I said, this has been an ongoing discussion for a long time, but I actually think it's kind of a silly one because it's very clear which one's more important. This is an objective topic, not a subjective topic. The one that's more important is obviously power. It has to be power. Your round has to be capable of doing what you need it to do when it hits a target. It has to be able to penetrate, and that's what power is. When you combine, mass times velocity, what does that translate to on the target? Penetration. The ability to penetrate deeply enough to do harm to that thing you're shooting at, which is usually going to be a sack of meat and bones and organs. So power is definitely more important. You have to be effective. It has to penetrate. Just for example, if I'm getting in a shootout with someone on a rainy day, and let's say I've got a little 25 ACP pocket pistol, it doesn't matter if I shoot and hit him dead center in the chest, perfect heart shot. If the bullet doesn't penetrate his sternum and all I do is get like a flesh wound, or let's say it doesn't even go through his coat or something, barely breaks the skin, that's not going to take him down. If I shoot at him with a .44 Magnum, and let's say I shoot low, I don't hit anything vital, but I shoot through his thigh and break his femur, that's not great shot placement, but that's more physical harm to him than the other shot that was placed perfectly because there was adequate power. You have to have adequate power. That's the first and foremost thing. Another example, let's say someone's trying to run you over with a truck. Trucks are very dangerous, and anybody can get a hold of them, so any crazy person can try to run you down with a truck. And we've seen it happen multiple times, not just here, but in other countries. Let's say you're in his path, you don't have time to get away, or there's somebody behind you that can't get away, and you're going to try to stop him. Let's say you pull out your little LCP 380, you fire a few rounds at the windshield, and you're actually hitting that guy dead center in the face, if it wasn't for that windshield. And your rounds hit that windshield and they just deflect off. I think we've all seen 380 deflect off of auto glass. It's sometimes just not powerful enough to penetrate, especially if you're shooting upward at the glass because the truck's higher than you are. The windshield's tinted back, you're shooting upward, often just deflects off. That's not likely to stop him. Even though you place the rounds perfectly, not going to do much. But let's say now you've got a 10 millimeter. And that 10 millimeter, you shoot that windshield, it explodes. The first round just explodes the windshield in the guy's face. Second round maybe hits him in the shoulder. Third round hits him in the shoulder. Which of the two scenarios is more likely to stop him? The one with the worst placement, but more power. Because in the first situation, the round wasn't capable of doing what you wanted it to do. Let's look at one more example. Let's say you're at the mall. You get in a shootout with an active shooter and you both get behind a trash can and you're shooting it out Old West style from cover. And he's shooting at you with a .357 Magnum. You're shooting at him with a .32 Beretta. And that bullet of yours is going through the first side of the metal can, but then it's hitting the garbage and not penetrating the second side. His bullets, however, are hitting the first side, penetrating the garbage, and then penetrating your side. It doesn't matter if you're hitting all dead center if they're not going through. If he's just spraying a pepper pattern on yours, but they're coming through and taking nicks out of you, which one of you is getting the worst of that situation? You are, and why? Because his round is powerful enough for the job and yours isn't. So it is an objective fact that power equaling penetration is the most important factor. If it wasn't, we'd just throw rocks at each other. But since it is the most important factor, that's what a round has to be able to do. Fortunately, We live in a society where you don't have to worry about that so much. So the argument really doesn't matter because most modern calibers are capable, especially against a human being. Maybe not large animals, but human beings. So if you're carrying for self-defense against other people, most any caliber you choose from 32 on up is going to take out another human being at reasonably close ranges. So that leaves you to where you don't have to worry about power so much. You just know modern ammunitions, they're powerful enough. So I can worry about other things like mastering where my shot placement goes. So that right there doesn't mean though that power is not more important. You still have to have adequate power. You have to be able to get the job done, or there's no point in trying to do the job. Like I said though, luckily most calibers are potent enough. But not always. Not always just against the body. Because like I said, 32 on up will take down a body pretty easy. 22 even. But if they're behind something like glass, or a car door, or a trash can, well then some calibers just aren't going to cut the mustard. So when someone tells you you need more power, you will need more power in those situations. You're just bargaining that you won't ever find yourself in the situation where you need more power. But if you ever do, that power is more important. It's the most important factor, that the round is capable. It's like if someone's coming at you with soft body armor on and you're unloading into the chest with your 22, probably not going to stop them before they get you. If you're hitting them in the chest with, 500 Magnum or another round that can actually penetrate it, like solid copper 357 SIG, you got a much better chance because the round was capable. So power was important. And power is always important. It's just that sometimes it's not as obvious. Like I said, if you're shooting at just a nice, soft, fleshy person. So you can make the argument that the round I am carrying is powerful enough to do the job. So therefore, it's okay that I'm carrying 380. Because I just plan on shooting at another person at close range if they ever become a threat to my life. And I'm not worried about, one shot stops as much as I am, just being able to defend myself. And that's a perfectly legitimate argument. But power is still the most important thing. You just have enough of it for what you want to do. It doesn't mean it's not as important. It just means you don't have to think about it. Just like how when you say the most important thing about a carry gun is that it's reliable. Well, most guns are reliable nowadays. You'd have to go out of your way to find one that isn't. So you don't have to think about that as much. You can start thinking about other aspects of it. Like, does it carry well? Is it light? Can I shoot it well? Because the most important thing, the fact that it's going to fire, is something that you don't have to think about, that you've already thought about, and you know it's going to be fine. Same thing with power versus placement. Placement is great, and it's always nice to be able to place your shots perfectly. And you should never get a gun you can't hit your target with just because it's more powerful. If you can't shoot a 500 Magnum, don't carry a 500 Magnum. I wouldn't recommend carrying a 500 Magnum anyway. But that's just the reality of it. It's the power that's the most important. It's that round being capable. If you really actually have to stop somebody, especially if you want a one-shot stop, power is very important. It's even more important than placement. But when you put the two together, power and placement, that's when you have your best shot, your best chance. But they both have to be there, power and placement, because just placement won't do the job. All right, I rambled over there, so I'm out of time for the day. But I do want to remind people that tonight we will be doing the drawing for the SIG P238 HD in the live chat. So if you participated in the fundraiser for Bento, please come to the chat tonight. I was supposed to do it last night, but I forgot. We got into the chat and just kept chatting, and I forgot all about it. So if you participated, come tonight. I will be announcing the winner. And with that being said, I just want to sign off tonight by saying I hope you enjoyed the show. I hope you come back again tomorrow. Until then, I just want to remind everyone to always carry and stay safe until I see you again.